Lesson 75, factoring trinomials in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. So the difference with this one is now there's a coefficient besides 1 in front of our x squared. And the method that I'm going to show you today is using this method right here. It almost looks like an M. Okay? So what we're doing here is if you have a coefficient in front of the x squared, just multiply the number, the first number and the last number, and you get your 24x squared. And then you do, what do you multiply to get 24x squared, but when you add the two numbers together, you get 11x. Well, you have 8x and 3x. Those add up to be 11x, but 8x times 3x gives you 24x squared. And then you bring down each of the other two terms, and then you form two binomials, and you factor them. What can I take out of 2x squared and 8x? You can take a 2x out, and you're left with x plus 4. Over here, you can take a 3 out of both, and you get x plus 4. This x plus 4 and this x plus 4, they're the same. That's your goal, to get those binomials to be the same. That's one of your answers. And what remains on the outside is your other binomial. So let's take a look at an example. 2x squared plus 7x plus 5. If I multiply these, I get 10x squared. So now I think, what two numbers do I multiply to get 10? If I add them together, it gives me 7. Well, I know that 5 and 2 add up to 7, and 5 times 2 is 10. So I'm going to put 2x here because I know it works well with the 2 here. I'm going to put the 5x on the right-hand side because I know it works well with this 5. So I just bring down the sign and the number on both sides. And now I have two binomials that I need to factor. I can take a 2x out here, and I get x plus 1. On this side, I can take a positive 5 out, and I get x plus 1. My two sets of parentheses are the same, so that's one binomial in my answer. And then I have the remaining part makes my other binomial, so 2x plus 5. So that's what my answer would equal. And I can check it by using FOIL, but I'm not going to do that right now. We'll just move on to our next one, but that's how you would go about checking your answer. Next one, multiply these. 3 times 12 is 36 with your x squared. What do I multiply to get 36, but add them together gives me 13. Well, on the side, I know that I can do 36 and 1, but that doesn't add up. That doesn't have it add up to 13. I can do 18 and 2, but that doesn't add up to 13. I can do 12 and 3. That equals 15. That's close, but not. It's too far apart. I can do 9 and 4. 9 and 4 is 36. 9 plus 4 is 13, so I'm going to use this one. I know that 9 works well with the 3 for factoring purposes, so I'm going to put 9x. That means this would have to be a positive 4x. Bring down the terms on the sides, so I have a 3x squared plus 9x and 4x plus 12. There's my two binomials. Now I can factor a 3x out of both, and I get x plus 3. And I can factor out a positive 4, and that gives me x plus 3. Since I have two binomials that are the same, I can put one of those down as my answer. So x plus 3 is my answer here. And then on the outside, I have a 3x plus 4. So my answer, x plus 3 times 3x plus 4. Try another one. 9 times 8 is 72, and my x squared. Now I got to figure out, what do I multiply to get 72, but add them together gives me 38. Well, I know that 72 times 1 works, but that doesn't add up to 38. 36 times 2 gives me 72. 36 plus 2 gives me 38, so I will use that one. I know that 36 works well with factoring with 9, so I'm going to put that down. So 36x here. That means 2x goes here. Bring down the sides. So 9x squared plus 36x and 2x plus 8. Now I can factor. I can take a 9x out here and I get x plus 4. And on this side I can take a positive 2 out and that leaves me with x plus 4. That leaves me with an answer of x plus 4. And then on the outside I have 9x plus 2. This one, now b is negative and c is positive. But we're still going to do the same thing that we were doing before. So 6 times 3 is 18, x squared. So now I have to figure out what do I multiply to get 18, but when you add them together, it gives me, or the difference of it's going to be 11. So I know 18 and 1, difference is not 11 when I subtract them. I can do 9 and 2. The difference of those, or if I add them together, you would get 11. So I'm going to use this one. So I know that 2 is a good factor of 6. So I'm going to put a 2x here. 9 works well with the 3 here. But I need to have, it has to equal a positive 18, but if I add them together, they have to be a negative 11. So these are both going to be negative 2x and a negative 9x. Bring down the sides. And now I have a 6x squared here plus 3. So now I have my two binomials. I can factor out a 2x here. That leaves me with x minus 1. Over here I can take out a negative 3. Actually right here this would be 3x. So because 6 divided by 2 would be 3. Here negative 9 divided by negative 3 is a positive 3x, and a positive 3 divided by a negative 3 is a minus 1. So now my two binomials are the same, so that's in my answer, 3x minus 1. And on the outside I have a 2x minus 3. That makes my other binomial. Let's try another one. 4x squared minus 23x plus 15. So multiply those. 4 times 15 would give us 60x squared. Break those apart. I have 60 and 1. I have 30 and 2. I have 20 and 3. The only one that added them together gives you 23 is 20 and 3. So I'm going to use the 20x here and the 3x here, just because 20 works better with 4 and 3 works better with 15. Since the c is positive and the b is negative, both numbers have to be negative. And bring down the sides. So 4x squared and positive 15 here. I can factor out a 4x here and I get x minus 5. On this side I can take out a 3. That leaves me with x minus 5, because 15 divided by negative 3 is a negative 5. So my answer, I have x minus 5, and on the outside I have 4x minus 3. Next one here, got a bigger number here, so 10 times 12 is 120 x squared. So now what do I multiply to get 120x squared, but add them together gives me 23. Well, I know that 12 times 10 gives me 120, but 12 plus 10 gives me 22. So I'm close. I know 15 and 8 gives me 23. Or 15 times 8 gives me 120, and if you add 15 and 8, that gives you a 23. So I know I can use that. So I'm going to use, since both of them have common factors, it doesn't matter as much here, but I'm going to put the 15x here and the 8x here, but they both have to be negative. Bring down the sides. So I got 10x squared here. I got plus 12 here. Factor, I can take a 5x out. That leaves me with 2x minus 3. Over here, I can take out a negative 4. That leaves me with 2x minus 3. My parentheses are the same, so that's my first answer, 2x minus 3. And on the outside, I have 5x minus 4. Do a couple other ones. 4 times a negative 3 is negative 12x squared. To get a negative 12x squared, add them together gives you a positive 4. So we got 12 and 1. We got 6 and 2. 6 and 2 has a difference of 4. So I'm going to put 4x here and 6x here. But to get a negative answer, 1 has to be negative. So if I take a negative 4 plus 6, or not plus 4 here, this should be a negative 2. So negative 2 plus 6 gives me a positive 4. So I know those are my two factors. Bring the outsides down. So 4x squared minus a 3 here. Factor, I can take a 2x out. That leaves me with 2x minus 1. Here I can take a 2 out, positive 2 out, or actually not positive 2, positive 3. That leaves me with 2x minus 1. My parentheses are the same, so that's in my answer. And I'm left with 2x plus 3 on the outside. Another one here. This will give us a negative 12x squared. Since the middle is negative, I know the bigger number has to be negative. So to get negative 12, I can have a negative 12x and a positive 1x. And if I add them together, it gives me a negative 11. So I know those are my two numbers. Bring down the 3x squared here and the minus 4. I can factor out a 3x here, and that gives me x minus 4. And over here, I already have x minus 4. So my answer, remember there's a plus 1 out here. I have x minus 4, and now I have 3x plus 1. Now really, I didn't factor anything out in the second binomial. Really, if you're not factoring it out, you could actually factor out a 1. Positive 1, it still stays the same. So you just have to remember it's a plus 1 there to make that second binomial. Next one, this will be a negative 48x squared. Break that apart. In order to get 48 and add them up to get a positive 8, we need to have a positive 12x and a negative 4x. So that gives you negative 48. Add them together gives you an 8x. Bring down the 6x squared. Bring down the minus 8. Factor, I can take out a 6x. That gives me x plus 2. Over here, I can take a minus 4 out. That leaves me with x plus 2, because negative 8 divided by negative 4 is plus 2. So my answer, x plus 2. And here I have a 6x minus 4. And this one The second binomial here is not completely factored because I can take a 2 out of both. That would leave me with 3x minus 2. So to factor it completely, my answer would be 2 times x plus 2 times 3x minus 2. So this would be my completely factored answer. Next one, let's multiply here. It gives you negative 60x squared. Break them apart. I know that this can be, we need to multiply to get negative 60, but add them together gives me a negative 3. Okay, I made a mistake right here. This should have been negative 40. So 2 times negative 20 is negative 40. So breaking that apart, I know that 8 and 5. So a negative 8x and a positive 5x gives you a negative 40, but add them together gives you a negative 3. Bring down the minus 20 and the plus 2x squared. I can factor both sides, and I get 2x and x minus 4. Over here, I can take a positive 5 out and I get x minus 4. So our answer would be x minus 4 times 2x plus 5. Next, we got positive 10x squared y squared because we have two variables. Break that apart. I know that in order to get 10, positive 10, multiply, I need one to be, one of them is going to be a positive, or a negative 10xy, and the other one's going to be a negative 1xy. And if you add them together, it gives you a negative 11. I can bring down the sides. So now I have 2x squared times, or minus 10xy on this side, negative xy plus 5y squared. Now I can factor out a 2x, and that leaves me with x minus 5y. And on this side, I can take out a negative 1. That leaves me with, I can take a negative 1, a negative y out. That leaves me with a positive x minus a 5y. So my binomials are the same, so x minus 5y times, on the outside, 2x minus y. Another one, so this would be 4x squared y squared. Break that apart, that would give us a negative 4xy and a negative 1xy because they add up to negative 5. Multiply gives you a positive 4. Bring down the sides, so 2x squared and a positive 2y squared. Factor, you can take a 2x out, and that leaves me with x minus 2y. Over here I can take out a negative y, gives me an x minus 2y. So my answer, x minus 2y times 2x minus y. A couple other ones here, we got 24x squared y squared. Break that apart, we get, so to get 11, that would be 8 and 3. So I'll use the 3 on this side. So 3xy and 8xy. Bring down the sides. Got 6x squared. And we got 4y squared. Factor out a 3x. That gives me 2x plus y. Factor out a 4y here. That gives me a 2x plus y. So my answer is 2x plus y. And on the outside, I got 3x plus 4y. Next one's a little bigger numbers here. So here we're going to need to rearrange first. Let's rearrange that one. So this is really 12x squared minus 17x plus 5. So now if I multiply, that gives me a 60x squared. So if I multiply, it gets 60, but add them together, it gives me a negative 17. That would have to be a negative 20x and a positive 3x. That gives you a negative 6. Let's see, they have to be positive and then add them up to get a negative. So it would be negative 12 and negative 5. So I'll do negative 12 here and negative 5 here, because those add up to negative 17. Then bring down the sides, 12x squared and plus 5. And take a 12x out here, leaves me with 1x minus 1. Over here I can take out a negative 5. That leaves me with x minus 1. So my answer, x minus 1 times 12x minus 5. Another one, rearrange first. So 4x squared minus 7x minus 2. Multiply on the outside, you get negative 8x squared. Write that down. That would be a negative 8x and a positive 1x. Bring down 4x squared minus the 2. Factor out a 4x. That leaves me with x minus 2. And over here I have factor out a positive 1. That leaves me with x minus 2 on the inside. So my answer, x minus 2 and 4x plus 1. And a couple other ones. We got 14x squared plus 32x plus 8. Multiply on the outside, so 14 times 8 gives us 112 x squared. Break that down. Well, 112 x squared, we can break that down as 28x and 4x. Bring down our side numbers, so 14x squared plus 8. And factor out a 14x here. That leaves me with x plus 2. And over here, I can take a 4 out. That means that gives us x plus 2 here. And on the outside here, this 14 and 4x, I can take a 2x, or a 2 out. And that leaves me with 7x plus 2. And then I have my x plus 2 as my answer. So that would be factored completely. Our last one, we got 6x squared plus 3x minus 9. Multiply on the outside, you get 54x squared. Break that down to get, so negative 54. So that would give us negative 6x and a positive 9x. Break that down. That gives us a 6x squared minus 9 here. Factor out, so I can take a 6x out. That leaves me with x minus 1. Over here I can take a positive 9 out. That leaves me with x minus 1. Over here, the 6 and the 9, I can factor out a 3. That leaves me with 2x plus 3. Then I have my x minus 1. So what we could have done at the very beginning here, we could have factored out a 3 first and just had our 2x squared plus x minus 3. And that might have been easy because here's your 3 at the very end. this is our lesson today on factoring trinomials with ax squared plus bx plus c.